are looking at Alla Turca left hand. So grab your pencil out. I'm going to mark in some of the chords. So being in A minor, the related chords to A minor, 1, 4, 5, relative major, and so that they're the main ones. We've got chord 1 is A minor, chord 4 is D minor, chord 5, the dominant, is E major, and then the relative major is C major. So those chords are going to come up a lot, and we modulate to a few others on the way. So here we are in bar 1. We don't count the anacrusis bar when we're counting numbers. So I've got the anacrusis, which is that, and the left hand has a rest. Then we do A minor. I'm going to slur, and that's how we play our A minor chord here. Still A minor, this time we've separated slightly differently. Now we have E. It's not clear whether it's major or minor at this point. And in modern, if you're doing A and B theory, they will always say the dominant is E major. But in the classical era, that's not quite so defined yet. In the Baroque era, it's definitely not defined. Mode shifting was quite normal. The dominant was E major, E minor was irrelevant, and changing from A major to A minor was also irrelevant. So we've got that it was still A. It was just the chord of A whether it was major or minor. So we've still got some leftovers of that here in the classical period. So we have this one. Now we actually know from the right hand that it's E minor, but here it's not clear. And the fifth note of E. Now when we do that fifth note of E, that's what's called a secondary dominant. It's the dominant of E, the chord 5 of E. So that's the first section. So I'll play it straight through. And you might notice that I'm using a separated touch. Again, there's historical reasons for doing that. You can try and make it more legato. The key issue here is that we want it to be restrained. Even though this is quite exciting in the style of Turkish march, it's still very restrained and very classical. If you want to imagine what that's like, if you imagine something like Pride and Prejudice, although that's a little bit later, but how everyone was so prim and proper and they don't yell and they don't run around and things like that. So we've got this real calmness in the way we play it. Okay, the second section. So we modulate, we start using the notes from C major. And so our left hand actually makes the C major chord, C, E, G. Again, we're using octaves, so we want to keep our hand nice and soft. So we do that twice. And then we do it in A minor, because at the end of the day, A minor is our tonic. So I'll play that section starting from bar 8. And just notice how I've kept my hand relaxed. So make sure when you're doing it, you're keeping your hand nice and relaxed. Now we have the section similar to the beginning. So we have the A minor chord again, bar 18, A minor chord again, A minor chord, but different order. Now we have this. Now this is a D sharp diminished chord, or it might be an F diminished 7. Diminished chords are very useful because when you play a diminished chord, you can almost go anywhere else after it. It has a tonal ambiguity. The C is in the right hand, which makes it a full diminished 7th. And so that was F and A and D sharp. And then we have this, which is A minor again, but just in a different order. And then here, we actually have a B diminished. Yeah, I won't worry about the harmony behind that. So that's a B diminished, but in an inversion. So B, D, F. And then A minor in inversion, first inversion. That diminished again in first inversion. A and E. G sharp and E. A. So I'll play that section. So that's the end of that section. So up to bar 24. Now we have this idea. So you can imagine a drum or something doing a roll. So we've got the A major chord and we want to roll the hand through so that we're not leaving a hand stretched. We don't want to do this. Again, we don't want to cause injury. So start at my pinky. I hope you can see that my elbow's in line with my pinky. And then as I come up, my elbow moves towards my thumb, my wrist moves towards the thumb, so you see the whole hand stays in alignment. We're in alignment with the third finger, we're in alignment with the second finger, now we're in line with the thumb. And that, imagine, well, it doesn't quite work in the hand, I was thinking like throwing dice, but reverse of throwing dice. So throw the hand, and then 3, 2, 1. So our repeated notes we want to use, changing fingers. 3, 2, 1, and again, 3, 2, 1. And we'll do the same thing with D major, and then swap to 2. The edition I have here says to stay on thumb. It's not a big deal, it's only one note. But then D sharp, and that looks like a D sharp diminished. And then E major chord again. 3, 2, 1, A major chord. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, D major chord, E major chord. Okay, so play it through. Dum, dum, dum. So that's that section. Now the next section we have is we've got an F sharp minor chord. What's the relationship? So that's chord 6 in A minor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it had modulated into A major earlier in bar 24. That's probably worth marking in. So we've completely switched modes. We were in A minor and we went to A major in bar 24. I probably should have mentioned that in the right hand video, but never to worry. So now that we're in A major, F sharp minor is the relative minor of A major. Again, we've got this mode shifting idea. So we've got the F sharp minor chord. What's that one? Oh, it's a C sharp major 7th by the looks of it. And then F sharp minor. What's that? That's C sharp major, which is the dominant of F sharp minor, and then F sharp minor again. And then we've got C sharp minor, and that looks like a G sharp major 7, which is our dominant 7th of C sharp minor or C sharp major. So you can see lots of mode shifting in here. So I'll do it again without talking. So hopefully you got all those chords in. Okay, so that's that section. So we're up to bar 40. Now, this one's much more straightforward with the harmony because we've just pretty much got A major and E major. A major. That's an E major 7, and this is our E major 7, and you'll notice the missing B, that's going to be in the right hand, and then A major, then E major 7, out of order though. If I put the E on the bottom you can see it more clearly, E, G sharp, B, D, there's the E there. Then thumb on A, 1, 2, 4, 3, 5, 1. 1, 2, 4, 3, 5, 1. So you don't want to do 5 there and end up having to jump a 5. Okay, so I'll start from bar 40. And then in bar 49, or starting in the upbeat, the previous bar, we go back to our F sharp minor section. So here's the F sharp minor. And there was our C sharp major 7, the dominant, and here's our F sharp minor again. And this section, there's a movie, and I can't quite put my finger on which movie it is, that has that 3, is it Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio? But there's some movie with that motive in it. So there you can see the C sharp stays the same, and only the bass note is moving chromatically, which nicely leads us to B minor here. Chromatic scales are another good way to modulate or to move us into a new key. And that looks like it sort of looks like E major without the E. So it could be intentionally ambiguous. It could be a diminished on G sharp, which is very closely related to E7. So there's our G sharp diminished, there's our E7. It only has one extra note, but the E is particularly absent in this bar. And then there's that F sharp minor chord in second inversion. There's our C sharp major 7. I know it's major because of what note's in the right hand, finishing in F sharp. So that C sharp major 7 was our secondary dominant. It was the dominant of F sharp. It's not the dominant of the piece, but it's the dominant of F sharp. So I'll go back to bar 49 and play that whole left hand. Okay, so now the next bit, bar 57, etc., we've already played. And we've already played from bar 64 to 87, as we discussed in the right hand video. So we don't need to practice any of that. We've actually also practiced bar 88 to bar 93, 4, 5, 6, 96, depending on your version, depends on how they mark the first and second time bar. But we've already played the left hand. Even though the right hand's different there, the left hand's just doing that, so we don't need to practice it again. So we can go straight to bar 97, which is the second time bar, or the bar of the coda. So we still have this, it's really straightforward, this left hand, similar to the earlier bit. So I've got that lovely drum roll sound, 3, 2, 1 on the A major, and there's lots of them, 3, 2, 1, then we do it on D major, 3, 2, 1, and we do it back on A major. We do it on E major chord 5, we do it on A major, and again, and again, and then D major, 3, 2, 1, A major, 3, 2, 1, E major, 3, 2, 1. So that's the drum roll section, very similar to earlier sections. Now we just have an A major chord as an Alberti bass. 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 of them. Now D major chord in second inversion as an Alberti bass. And then 2 more A majors. The E chord, we're not sure whether it's major or minor because the G sharp is missing, which gives it a lovely sense of ambiguity and is harkening back to the medieval music where the third wasn't included. It was regarded as imperfect. It was much more perfect to do that. But then we keep going, so we're at bar 170, we've got that drum roll. We've got 3 of them in A major. We've got D major, A major, E major, A major, A major, A major, and then just to finish, we increase our harmonic rhythm just a little bit. Oops, I missed a note. A chord, chord. So we've just intensified the harmonic rhythm as we approach the end. So I'll start from bar 97, where the coda starts, and I'll play it straight through. So that's the left hand. Feel free to revisit any parts of the video that you're struggling with that bit of the piece. Don't forget to practice slowly. Don't forget to practice in sections. And also don't forget you don't need to practice the bits you know over and over because you know them. So particularly the bits that were repeated in the piece, you can skip over them and practice in sections as you get ready for doing hands together. Have fun.